So this is how to find value when you're betting on the in games, and this has a lot to do with the pitch count, and it's all about timing really. And when you put the game in, when you actually place the bet, it has a lot to do with the timing that you do it in, or the inning that's coming up. So first things first, let's look at this Kansas City Detroit matchup, right? So when you're taking an in game, I always look at the score itself to see if it's a low scoring game. The probability and the chance of you winning an in game placed on a low scoring game, for the strategy that I use, is a lot higher than if the game is chaotic. Okay, so if you have a matchup like this where you got a low scoring game, two pitchers are pitching really well, one pitcher is winning the game early, going, even after 5 innings. All right, this is the game. These are the type of games you want to be placing money on in the in game, okay? And it has a lot to do with the pitch count of the pitcher. You always, if you're taking the team that's up, which I normally do, sometimes I'll give a run and a half when they're up by more than one run. You can get really good value on that, pretty much even money almost. You see Kansas City, how they're up 2-0 here, okay? And these pitchers are pitching pretty well. Now, as we run this tape, you always want the pitcher from the other team to be lasting and going the distance, meaning he has to go at least 6 innings, because chances are he's going to create more stress later on for himself, and possibly have a blow up inning. Because when you're trailing from behind and you've been playing so well, sometimes it gets frustrating, and you have like a you mentally lose it in 1 inning, and it's possible for him to have a like an implosion in 1 inning after the fifth. So if you follow me, what I'm saying, if you don't understand what I'm saying, you can just rewind the video. But the whole thing is, you want the pitcher to go at least 6 innings, and you got to follow that with the pitch count. You have to kind of gauge to see if you think he's going to get to 6 innings at least, because that's when there's going to be more separation with these teams. If you notice the games, most of these baseball games, most of the runs are scored in the fifth or the sixth inning. So if you've been watching baseball for a long time, you'll know that. And the reason why you see these breakout games, these big, high scoring games in the fifth and the sixth inning, is because that is the breaking point, especially the sixth inning. That's when you usually get these high scoring games, in the sixth. Very rarely does it happen in the seventh, but it sometimes does happen in the seventh. But in this case right here, I want to take Kansas City minus 1.5 after after 5 innings here, okay? So this pitcher for Detroit has to go at least 6 innings for it to work, because of the fact that there's a probability, a huge chance of him giving up more runs to Kansas City, because he's fatiguing, he's at a high pitch count, and he's losing focus because he's still down, And that's another thing. When a team is not scoring, it's a lot harder to break out of that and start scoring out of nowhere. It's very difficult. So the chance of Kansas City separating themselves in this game is very, very high. Okay, so you can get a minus 1.5 on Kansas City already winning, and get that at even money by following the pitch counts of these pitchers. And it's just all about timing. You just got to know when to bet these games on the in game, and you really have to follow it, because it does work. But it depends on when you place the bet, because if you place it at the wrong time, you're not going to be getting the value you should be getting. So like look at this. There was an error here, and then Kansas City scores 2 more runs here. So you see how everything just after the 6th inning, it's usually when things fall apart, and there's a lot of teams that separate themselves, especially when a game is like this low score, and one pitcher gets frustrated, more so because he's pitching well, but they can't score. So the team starts to get frustrated, and that's when you get the separation. So hopefully this video made sense. I'll maybe making some more videos on this, but the 3 main things to look at is the pitcher has to go at least 6 innings. The pitch count has to be low enough so that he does get to 6 innings, and you can anticipate him going 6 innings. And the score has to be low. The score has to be a 3-1 game, a 2-0 game. It's got to be a well-pitched game going into the 6th inning with a team at least leading. So that's going to do it for this video. I hope that helped, and I'll be back with some more videos.